All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about America's biggest substance crisis. And I have a feeling it's not the one you're thinking of. There's a story the numbers are telling that's, well, it's pretty devastating. And it's time we paid attention.
So, if I asked you right now, what's the biggest substance crisis in America? What would you say? You'd probably say opioids, right? Or fentanyl. I mean, it's all over the news, and for very good reason. But what if the headlines are actually missing the bigger picture? And here's why you might think that. We've actually seen some seriously good news on the opioid front. The CDC just reported the biggest drop in drug overdose deaths ever recorded, down by more than 26%. I mean, that's a huge win. But it also pulls back the curtain on another crisis that's been quietly getting worse. And there it is. The U.S. Coast Guard put it bluntly. Another compound is killing more people than opioids. And that compound is alcohol. This is the unseen epidemic. This is the crisis we really need to get our heads around. So, to really understand just how big this is, we have to look at the numbers. And fair warning, they're staggering. They show a problem that has been accelerating right under our noses for years. Let's just start with this one number, 70%. According to a KFF analysis of CDC data, the national death rate from alcohol shot up by 70% in just a single decade, from 2012 to 2022. And this wasn't some slow burn. It was a steady climb that absolutely exploded during the pandemic. And this slide right here really puts it into perspective. If you use a broad but equal definition for deaths, meaning the substance was either the main cause or a contributing factor, the numbers are just clear as day. In 2022, alcohol-related deaths blew past the numbers for opioid overdoses. It's not even close. And, this crisis doesn't hit everyone the same way. Not at all. As you can see, there's a huge disparity. The alcohol death rate for American Indian and Alaska Native people is 5 times higher than it is for white people. That is a devastating gap, and it points to much, much deeper problems. So we have this massive, growing crisis, and our response to it is falling way short. A mind-blowing 92.4% of people who have an alcohol use disorder got 0 treatment in the past year. Think about that. For every 100 people who need help, more than 92 are left to fight it all on their own. You see, the numbers, they paint this really stark picture of what's happening, but they don't get to the heart of it, do they? They don't tell us why. Why are so many people hurting, and why are so few of them finding a way out of it? To understand that, we have to look past the substance itself. And this might just be the key to understanding that why. It could even explain that staggering 92% treatment gap. It's a really powerful idea called the trauma code, and it completely reframes this conversation. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, addiction isn't the real disease, but a symptom of something way deeper. Our guide for this part of the journey is Kaihim Black, who also goes by B. Jesus. He's a trauma decoder, a certified recovery specialist, and the author of a book called Grind Wars. Now, his insights don't come from a textbook. They were forged in his own life, from the streets to prison and now to mentoring others. And this quote gets right to the core of his whole message. B. Jesus argues that so many of our destructive behaviors are driven by a kind of programming, this trauma code that gets written into us by painful things that happened when we were young, things we often try to just forget or push down. So what exactly is this trauma code? He defines it as a program designed for self-destruction. It's like this unhealed wound that starts running your life from the background, and it creates these patterns that you don't even realize you're stuck in. And this code isn't just some abstract idea. It has very real, very devastating effects. It traps you in survival mode, which blocks you from ever really growing or discovering who you are. It makes you codependent and starving for validation from others. It basically hijacks your present and completely sabotages your future. So, okay, if the problem is basically a bug in our own internal software, then the solution can't just be about avoiding a substance, right? It has to be about something more. It has to be about winning a war within yourself. This right here is the fundamental shift in thinking. The battle isn't with the bottle or a drug or whatever. The real war is against the untreated pain, the grief, the abandonment that makes a person so desperate to escape that they'll do it at any cost. The addiction is just the weapon. It's not the enemy. So how do you fight this war? Well, B. Jesus lays out a 4-step blueprint. First, you have to confront the source of the pain. You have to go back. Then you reverse engineer the code to see how it works. And now the hardest step. You have to let go of the old self. You have to let a weaker part of you die so a stronger part can live. And finally, you intentionally rebuild your life with new empowering systems.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this simple but powerful truth. While so many of us are looking for external fixes, the real battlefield, the most important one, is and always will be inside us. And here's where it gets even bigger, because winning this internal war isn't just a personal victory. Oh no, it has an impact that ripples out across generations. This is a battle for your legacy. And the stakes really couldn't be any higher. When you do the hard work to heal yourself, you're not just saving your own life. You are literally creating a roadmap for your kids, for your family, for everyone who comes after you.
Because if we don't, these trauma codes just get passed down like some kind of cursed family inheritance. As BJY Jesus asks, why do we think suicide and addiction rates are skyrocketing among our kids? It's because they're fighting wars we never taught them how to win, because we never did the work to disarm our own trauma first. Which leaves us with one last, really critical question. If unhealed trauma is the source code for so much of this crisis, from alcohol to opioids, then where should we be fighting the real war? Out on the streets or inside the soul?